everyone, it is Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, August 8th. We are intraday right now, and this is our weekly trade ideas video where we bring about a half a dozen or so strong technical candidates, names that are holding up well, showing good relative strength, generally speaking are actionable and just acting well from a technical perspective. And today's no different. We have 5 names that we're going to cover, 2 from our watch lists and 3 from our partners over at Investors Business Daily. So we are going to jump into our first name is KORS, K-O-R-S. We have talked about this name before, but today is an interesting day because it is trying to make a move over the $70 level. We've talked about this level in the past. This is the year-to-date highs. This is where the stock has struggled for all of this year to break above. It's essentially been moving sideways in a channel between $60 and $70. KORS reported earnings today. It's up 6.5%, almost 7% at the time of recording this. And you can see volume is tracking high. It's already over 2x the daily 20-day average of volume, and we still have plenty of hours left of trading. And most importantly, it is flirting with that $70. You can see there is a tail at the top end of this price. So we need to see how this closes on the session. Can it actually muster up the strength and take out this resistance here that it struggled with all year? This is the weekly time frame. Again, you can see just a nice, neat, high and tight sideways consolidation just under its all-time highs for the past 7 or 8 months. So this is a setup that I will be paying attention to. You can see it is at that inflection point right now, and we'll want to see how this closes out the day, and even more importantly might be the weekly close here. Can we get that weekly close to really move above this area here of resistance? I think that would give you some more confidence that this setup is ready to continue to trend. So that is our first name there, is KORS. Our second name is one that is a little bit uncharacteristic of the setups that we usually present here. It's SSYS, but I thought it was interesting, and I'm sure there's an audience here, or there's traders that are interested in these types of names. Generally, when we look at this long-term chart, this is not a name that I am actively seeking out to trade. Generally speaking, I like to focus on names that are just under all-time highs, or maybe they've pulled back of all-time highs, but they're certainly in a trend that is starting down here and kind of moving up to the upper right, that long-term uptrend. This one's a little bit different, but the pattern is so long and sort of clear here that I figured it would be an interesting one to present to see if anybody would find this interesting. But it's SSYS. Look at a monthly chart. I think that really kind of speaks to this pattern here that I'm looking at. And if we zoom in to this view here, you can see it's really been moving sideways after getting crushed for 2014 and 2015. It's moved sideways for the past couple of years here, 3 years or so, and it has found support, carving out that bottoming pattern, if you will, around $17. And more recently, it is starting to get a bid off of those low levels, and it is getting a little bit of an uptick in volume. If we go down to the weekly chart here, you can see lots of overlapping tight sideways price action. Last week we had kind of a high volume move over this $21 level. We're starting to follow it up this week with some more gains. So we are certainly not out of the woods yet, and this is certainly a longer term trade, or at least that's the way I would anticipate it to be expressed. But we do have price trading around $23. If it can start to lift through all this chop and sideways movement as it is currently trying to do, then I think a move up to this upper 28, really the upper 20s, which would be the last year's highs, into $30, I think that would be a reasonable spot to anticipate this stock could move to if the bulls can continue to hold up and break this out and keep up this recent momentum. So SSYS, something to think about here. Longer term name. It does have a fairly ugly long-term chart, but over the past couple of years it seems to have stabilized. It's found some buyers in here and looks like it could be on the verge of reversing. So that is the 2 names that I have. Let's look at 3 names from IBD's lists. Number 1 is PETQ. So this is PETQ. This here looks more like a name that I'm generally looking at, stocks that are holding or just off of all-time highs, basing out under significant levels. And PETQ, if we go down to say the daily chart, we can see the reason here of interest is it had this nice momentum move up from June and July of this year, and it has since consolidated sideways. It struggled to find progress over $29, so it is moving sideways here, kind of tightening up, higher lows, lower highs in place, and this is where we want to see how this acts. Can this break out? Can we get some range expansion here after this has tightened up over the past couple of weeks? I'd be looking for a move really north of say 28.50 or so to get that trigger, to get that interest, to get that confidence that this stock would be starting to leg higher here for new highs. And at this point, it is simply just on watch. There's no trigger yet, no trade, just paying attention to it and on the watch list. Next up, we have ZTO. So ZTO here is a slightly different look. This is a name that, if we zoom out, has been in a longer term uptrend. It's only been public for a little over 2 years, but if we zoom in on the price action, again, this had this nice move up from April, May, and June of this year, and it is since moving sideways, and it is trying to find support here at this $19 level, and that is the interest. That is why it is on the list here for this week, is because it is back to support. And if you like pullbacks, if you like to buy support, if you like to buy those reversals, pullbacks, then this is a name to pay attention to. We're still not seeing much volume come in here yet, but again, we'll let the price action sort of speak for itself. If it can continue to lift up here and hold this $19 area, then I think this looks interesting for a pretty reasonable spot, a reasonable spot to get that nice reward to risk ratio. If you're looking for a move back up towards the upper end of this range, back up to these prior highs, I'd give ZTO a look. I think it looks interesting. So that is actually, no, one more name. Don't mean to cut that short. One more name is Wing. We have talked about this before. This has been in our trade ideas video before, and the reason it is here again is because it just recently broke back out to new highs here. You can see this has been a nice long-term uptrend for many months, many years. It just had a 17, almost 18% move last Friday off of earnings, and it is now moving sideways here, getting tight, and it is certainly overbought, is certainly extended here. But for you kind of nosebleed momentum traders, for you day traders looking for stocks that are in play that might have some more fuel to the upside, I'd give Wing a look here. It might need a little more time to consolidate, but it is something worth paying attention to. You can see it is kind of have really we had inside days back to back on Monday, another inside day on Tuesday, and then we're trying to, looks like we kind of broke that pattern, trying to perk back up here on Wednesday, taking out Tuesday's highs, but we'll see how it closes on the session. So that is what I have for this week's videos. Only 5 names. Again, check out the description of this video for links to IBD's lists if you want to get on board there and start getting access to some of the curation that they're doing. Otherwise, thank you so much, as always, for watching. Every Wednesday, we do trade setup videos just like this. So have a good day trading, and I will talk to you in the next video.